Now, the Tory sleaze row shows no signs, really, of going away. With every day that goes by, we get fresh revelations about people who've got one extra job or two extra jobs or even four extra jobs. An odd one today with Grant Shapps, who, of course, is the Transport Secretary and a very keen aviator, owns his own aeroplane. He's mad keen on flying. And it turns out that Shapps has been using public money to back a group that are trying to stop the building of houses on small airfields around the country. And here's the odd part, because government policy is to build lots and lots of houses, and yet the Transport Secretary is able to use taxpayers' money to fund a group that want to oppose government policy. I mean, you really couldn't actually make this stuff up. What is also very interesting is the extent to which, in the space of 10 days, little more than 10 days, Boris Johnson has gone from looking pretty much impregnable in terms of his leadership of the Parliamentary Conservative Party into looking very quickly, strangely vulnerable. And if you think back through the events of the last couple of weeks, had Owen Paterson taken his medicine, been suspended from Parliament for 30 days, the story would have been that one Conservative member of Parliament had abused the rules, and that would have been the end of it. But because the decision was made in Downing Street to defend Paterson, suddenly it's opened up a whole can of worms. There are well over 100 Conservative MPs who've got second jobs on top of being members of Parliament. Some of them earn considerable sums of money. As a result of what Boris did over Owen Paterson, it may well be a lot of those jobs will be ruled out. They will not be allowed to do them in the future. So you've now got a significant number of backbenchers who feel their second incomes, in many cases much bigger than their parliamentary incomes, could, before the end of this Parliament, be taken away from them because of the judgment of the Prime Minister. And that puts him in quite a vulnerable position. The other interesting rift that has developed within the parliamentary party, and split parties are never healthy, is you've got a kind of Tory old guard. These are members of Parliament who represent the shires, members of Parliament often with thumping majorities of 20,000, 25,000. I mean, you could almost argue that they're members of Parliament for what are effectively rotten boroughs, because there is no chance of any other party threatening to win the seat from them. So they don't really, if they don't want to, have to work very hard. And those MPs are the ones who tend to have the lucrative second jobs. Those MPs are the ones that tend to spend quite a lot of hours doing second jobs. And they kind of take it that it's their right to be able to do so. Then against that, what you've got are the 2019 intake. And that's an intake of very different people. Far fewer of them who have gone to private schools. Far fewer of them who've come from families with money. Far fewer of them who've grown up on farms or in the shires. And these are young, much younger people who've got into Parliament and who know that their majorities are kind of on a knife edge and want nothing to do with the whole concept of second jobs. And so there's a big split emerging within the Conservatives between the 2019 intake and the old guard.